Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for, reach out, yeah, thanks.
We have a gun.
Nice to everyone, that's my motto.
Next to you.
It may not be,
Commissioner?
it may have more than that.
Others will
If there's no damage, there's no problem.
I want to welcome everyone to the joint meeting of Martin County. Can everyone please rise to say the Pledge of Allegiance?
Got a new rig?
You moving?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So good morning, everyone. I'd like to take a moment to go around the room and everyone introduce themselves. We'll start with the City of Stuart.
Lee Baggett, City Attorney.
Sean Reed, Commissioner Reed, City of Stuart.
Christopher Collins, City of Stuart Commissioner.
Campbell Rich, Mayor, City of Stuart.
Eula Clark, Stuart Commissioner.
Laura Giobbe, Commissioner in the City of Stuart.
Mike Mortel, City Manager.
Karen Krista, Village Manager for Indiantown.
Councilmember Phyllis Waters Brown from Indiantown.
Council Member Angelina Perez, Village of Indiantown.
Wade Vos, Village Attorney, Village of Indiantown.
Good morning, Michael Main, Superintendent of Schools.
Dr. Brian Moriarty, Martin County School Board, District 5.
Good morning, Marcia Powers, Martin County School Board.
Amy Pritchett, Martin County School Board.
Jen Russell, Martin County School Board.
Tony George, School Board Attorney.
Don Donaldson, County Administrator.
County Commissioner Eileen Vargas, District 1.
Blake Capps, Martin County Commission.
My sign says Chair Heard.
Ed Campy, Martin County Commissioner.
Good morning, Stacy Hetherington, District 2, County Commissioner.
Sarah Woods, County Attorney.
Okay, we have some public comments. If you wish to speak, please fill out a form. We're going to start with Jesse Nacianceno.
And our tradition is you have 3 minutes.
You heard the man. We have 3 minutes.
Yes, yes.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, and very congratulations. You said my name correctly. So I'm Jesse Nastanceno, resident of the Florida Club since 1988, August of 1988. So I've been here 27 years, family and I. It's wonderful. We love, so I've traveled the world, most of it, and 45 states of the U.S. So it's, we are very happy and pleased to be living in Martin County, City of Stuart. So, and I'm still at the Florida Club, home of 515 homes, District 4. And, I met Commissioner Hurd back in 98, 99 when she was exploring the idea of running for commissioner because we had an incumbent who had been there for 20 years, who happened to be Elmira Gainey. So anyways, moving forward. So while I've been here when I quit traveling, I became very active in civics. So currently I serve as a chair for the Affordable Housing Committee. I spent 1.5 years with the Mark Hartney Fair Board. I spent 4 years with the School Board Oversight Committee, Sales Tax Committee, chaired it for a couple years, Taxpayers Association, Economic Business Development, and I was the first non-black elected to an office for the NAACP here in Martin County. So that's just a little bit of background about me. What I'd really like to discuss is, I believe in providing all the necessary funds that our fire department and police need to do their jobs and to keep up with the training. However, on October 8th of 2024, I still was at home, my daughter was at home, and we hear a thump. So I went over to the bedroom to see that my wife had fallen. And right away I can tell that there was something wrong. Half her face was drooping, and her eyes were not focused. So my daughter called 911, came out paramedics. Within probably 10 minutes they were there. There was 3 of them. Came in, and they decided she was not having a stroke. We suggested that she was having a stroke. So they left, and as he's walking out, I came out to the garage to meet one of the head guys, and I said, can you please take my wife to the hospital? I believe she's having a stroke. He says no. So to me, that's a person who decided to play God and say that my wife was not having a stroke.
Sir, wrap it up, please.
As they were leaving, my daughter called 911 again. Along came a second trio of paramedics, and this paramedic team did their job, asked a series of questions to my wife,
Sir,
and they made a decision that she was having a stroke.
Sir, your time is up.
They took her to the hospital, and so she spent a couple months there because during the process, so she had brain surgery.
Sir, your time is up. Thank you.
Her right leg amputated below the right knee, and her left leg amputated because she lost 30 valuable minutes of time when the first group of paramedics didn't take her in. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Frank McChrystal.
Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day. He had a mistress down on A in 12th. Here I am going human 1.5. It's so embarrassing. He had a mistress down on A in 12th. She was that little something that he did for himself. His own little secret, and didn't hurt nobody. Come the afternoon, he'd take her wading, waist deep in the big muddy, waist deep in the big muddy. You start out standing, but end up crawling. Got in some trouble and needed a hand from a friend of mine. This old friend, he had a figure in mind. It was nothing illegal, just a little bit funny. He said, "Come on, man, don't tell me the rich don't know. Sooner or later, it all comes down to money. And you're waist deep in the big muddy, waist deep in the big muddy. You start on higher ground, but end up crawling." Well, I had a friend said, "You watch what you do. Poison snake bites you, and you're poison too." How beautiful the river flows and the birds they sing. But you and I, we're messier things. There ain't no one leaving this whole world, buddy, without their shirt tail dirty or their hands a little bloody. Waist deep in the big muddy. Waist deep in the big muddy. You start on higher ground, but end up somehow crawling, waist deep in the big muddy. One of my mentors was my offensive line coach, a giant mountain of a man, black man. And from 80 yards away, he could make the hair on the back of your neck stand up. And every day after practice, we'd all be looking up at him, kneeling down on our helmets, and he'd go into his spiel. And at the end of his spiel, every day for 3 years, he'd look at us little 12 and 13-year-old guys and say, "Men, just remember one thing. You've got to look at yourself first in the morning, every morning when you're shaving." Thank you, Lord, for this day.
Thank you. Tom Pine.
Good morning. I've been a resident of Martin County for over 50 years, presently living in Jensen Beach, Florida. On Monday, on my morning walk, about 2 blocks north of Jensen Beach Elementary School on Savannah Road, the school buses stopped. I'm watching children get on the bus, and the horn starts blaring as a car continues flying past the school bus, stopped school bus. And yes, on the other side of the street, there are children and adults starting to cross the street when this all transpires. As if Savannah Road isn't dangerous enough for students, with stop signs meaning little to nothing anymore, I continue walking till I come to the driveway where this parent drop-off road is, and here's a parent flying out of the road, of course not stopping, there's no traffic, so she's flying out of the road, and a daughter in the passenger side, eyes wide open, as I'm only a couple steps from stepping onto the crosswalk. This is how our children learn how to drive. Their parents teach them at a young age. This is where they learn stop signs don't matter anymore. Since there's no enforcement, they don't matter. It's really dangerous for our children these days out there. That's why very few kids ride bikes to school in Jensen Beach or walk. That's why the line for cars is sometimes around the block. Yesterday, at the joint meeting with the City of Stuart and the Commission, County Commission, I'd like to thank the City of Stuart for standing strong and not bending down to build a Brightline station unless Brightline chips in for it. Just like they did in the counties south of us, where the stations they built down there, they chipped in. I'd like to thank the City of Stuart for standing up for the taxpayers, the working class taxpayers of Martin County, and not rolling over for this same old Martin County Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for your time and have a great day.
Thank you. Last speaker is Robin Cartwright. If you wish to speak, please fill out a form.
Good morning. Yesterday, there was a lot of rhetoric about how the county and the city need to work together, and here's an issue that we need to jointly solve. And we can talk about the absurdity of development and annexations later, but let's talk about the very real situation about water. On Monday, the city will discuss its consumptive use permit it has with South Florida Water Management District. And each municipality and large development submit a consumption permit. A 2023 DEP water plan presentation stated, quote, "The water resource development component is where regional water resource management is formulated and implemented, and without these planning efforts, the districts project that existing sources of water will not adequately meet the reasonable beneficial needs for the next 20 years. To be clear, there is not one aquifer and water supply for the county and one for the city and one separate one for Indiantown. But bringing it local, Harbor Grove is a City of Stuart project that was annexed in from the county explicitly so it could be developed. Excuse me. They've had documented water pressure issues in 2024 in April, May, June, August, September, and December. And on March 6th, they received another notice about another water service issue. It's a city parcel, but it's to the south of Indian Street. So it's not the city's problem because it's a county utility, but it's a city parcel, so it is a city problem, but it's not because it's on the south side of Indian Street. In the meantime, Terra-Lago and Indiantown was approved, and they have a water consumption permit with SFWMD, but it's not enough. And in January, it was noted that Indiantown now needs and recognizes that they need a solution to their water supply. So is it an Indiantown problem, or is it a county problem? And now add in all of the rural lifestyle projects and their needs. Add the pending 35.07-acre project in the city that was annexed in from the county that includes a car lot, commercial properties, and 249 residential units that still needs approval. On September 5th, 2024, Florida Tax Watch wrote, quote, "Florida will not be able to sustain the continued level of growth it has seen over the recent years without dramatically improving how it selects and funds water projects." So one solution is to limit development. We all know that won't happen, though places like Phoenix do just that. Another option is to have developers pay for reverse osmosis treatment plants to support their developments, but that won't happen, even though places like New Mexico have action plans to proactively address this. Blindly approving development while passing the buck does nothing for our community members, and we literally end up paying for the solution. So maybe instead of throwing tax dollars behind a private-public partnership with no actual private investment supported by no economic feasibility study, maybe we consider investing in the sustainability of our community that has real and meaningful impact. Our priorities for our community need to seriously be reconsidered.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? If not, we'll move on to our agenda items. First up, County Public Works Project, Keith Baker.
It was open there. One of those. Hi, excuse me. Good morning, everyone. I'm Keith Baker. I'm the Capital Project Administrator for Martin County. We'll start with our neighborhood restoration updates. These projects are done in two phases typically, a drainage improvement portion and then a milling and resurfacing of the pavement portion. If there's a utility improvement component, it'll be done in 3 phases. It would be the drainage improvements, then the utilities, and then the milling and resurfacing. Going through the list here today, the Port Salerno Peninsula project is expected to start this month. We have an awarded contractor. Rocky Point neighborhood restoration, the design is at 90%. We're anticipating construction, I would say, like late summer. Port Salerno New Monrovia is pending bid. The bid package has been prepared. It's with the purchasing department, just waiting for advertisement. We're beginning the design, just getting into the design for the Dixie Park neighborhood project. City of Stuart Riverside Park is a project in coordination with the City of Stuart. It's about 50% complete. Old Palm City North, the design's at 60%, and we had a public involvement meeting last week. It went really well. We took feedback from the residents, and we're working on incorporating that into the design plans. SPS Manatee Business Park, the drainage study is almost done. We're just waiting to get the final drainage study. And South County Neighborhood Restoration, the survey is approximately 30% complete. Phase 2, which is the milling and resurfacing or the pavement improvement portion. Golden Gate neighborhood is near complete. The contractor's working on punch list items. Leilani Heights is currently out to bid, and Hobe Hills is scheduled to start mid this year. Moving into our roadway and sidewalk improvement projects, Indian Street resurfacing is at 90% complete. The only thing left is the punch list. We're working on some punch list items with the contractor. Jensen Beach Boulevard resurfacing is complete. Avalon Drive sidewalk is expected to start in April. MacArthur Boulevard construction, this says 50%, but it's further along than that. I would say it's 90% complete. We're moving into the project closeout portion. Fox Brown Road resurfacing will be going out to bid in March. Dixie Highway multimodal or shared use path, the design's at 90%. And Waterside Way roadway construction project is approximately 50% complete. The two on the bottom are some upcoming sidewalk and trail projects. We have the Sun Trail, which connects Jonathan Dickinson Park to Sea Branch State Park. The design's at 30% complete. We have a public involvement meeting scheduled for 3/25 at the Hobe Sound Library. And Washington Street sidewalks, approximately 30% design also. And that public involvement meeting is scheduled for 4/16 at the Moorgate Library. I'd just like to point out on this slide that all of the projects on this slide, with the exception of Waterside Way, are partially grant funded. The state-funded projects are 75% funded through FDOT. And then the federal projects are also administered through FDOT, and those are almost 100% grant funded with the exception of a few non-participating items. And then the FDEP projects are 50-50, as far as 50% grant funded. For bridge project updates, Dixie Highway East Fork Creek Bridge, we're nearing the completion of construction, trying to wrap that up. It says 90%. Hope Sound Basquiat Bridge, this is the one off of Bridge Road. This is actually a scour protection project to line the channel with riprap to prevent undermining or erosion of the channel section. In the Island Way West Bridge, the survey is expected to begin in the spring of this year. On the bottom of the slide, the County Line Road Loxahatchee River Bridge, it says it's expected to go to bid in summer. On kind of the critical path for that, we're working with utility coordination, or doing the utility coordination with Village of Tequesta and Loxahatchee River District. It requires relocation of the water, sewer, and we also have electric line relocation with FPL. So that's the critical path. We're working through that, and but we're still expecting to bid this summer. But that's the items that we have to address. And one other item of note with the County Line Road Bridge, that one will be 100% grant funded. Are there any questions?
Mr. Reed?
Yes, Keith. Where can I go online to find more information about all these projects? Is it on the county website?
Yes, we have when you go to the website, there's a OWL, if you look for that, like OWL, and it'll have a list of all the projects with a summary of each one. I think you can also get the design plans if you want to download them.
Is this just for Public Works then, the OWL, or is that?
I believe it's Public Works.
Okay.
I know it's Public Works, I'm not sure if it's other departments.
It has some utility projects, and then there's a separate section that has projects that would be private development in application. So it has both two sections, but one.
So this will have like the projects with file numbers and all that on the county site, or is that different, Don?
It'll have a brief description of each project, its location, and it has Public Works, utilities projects, park projects that's maintained in terms of what's being designed or constructed today. It doesn't have historic data.
Okay. And then another question, does it have zoning changes then? Like when you see the big yellow sign with the file number, does the county list zoning changes?
Yes, it does. It has a separate, it's similar on the same web page, but it's a different access portal. It has a different button, if you will, on the page to go to for projects that are.
So you can search the file number then, right?
Yeah, you can find out what's currently in application for zoning or site development plans.
Okay.
I believe the MPO also has a link to this system as well on their web page.
Okay, thanks.
I have a question. It has to do with the timetable between design and construction. When design is done, what is the typical lag period between the completion of design and the beginning of construction? I know it probably varies a lot.
Yeah, I would say it varies by project, but once the design's complete, it takes about 3 to 4 months to get it out to bid and award the contractor, on average.
Thanks.
It'll see when you review our CIP coming up, the design and the construction phase. So sometimes we have ahead of the design, and you may not be ready for construction until you've accumulated enough funds or be awarded a grant. So the lag time can be months, as was stated, or it could be years, depending upon the project.
I'm I'm also going to provide the traffic updates today for the traffic department. Indian Street Willoughby Boulevard intersection improvements. This was done in coordination with the roadway project. It was replacing the mast arms and signal heads at that intersection. It's almost finished. Salerno Road at Cantor Highway intersection improvement. This is adding, I believe, left turn lanes at that intersection. This is scheduled, this slide has a couple typos on it. This one's scheduled for fall of 2025. Constitution Boulevard at Federal Highway signalization is under construction. And the High Meadows Avenue at Sun Trail Roundabout, this one's pending construction. I think it's, I believe they've had the pre-construction meeting and they're waiting to break ground.
Thank you. We'll now hear from John Mayle, Environmental Resource Administrator.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to give you an update on what's going on with the environmental projects. I'm just going to highlight a few where you're likely to see activity on the landscape before you meet again. We've got the list of ongoing things on the slides there, but I want to mention East Fork Creek Phase 2. That's a linear lake and man-made wetland project that will further polish the water coming out of our East Fork Creek Phase 1 project before it makes its way through Mariner Sands to the Manatee Pocket. That is under construction now. It started about a week ago. You won't notice a large footprint. It's adjacent to US 1, but it's a narrow joining of US 1, and then it goes deep back on the south side of Mariner Sands. And then if you're a frequenter of Florida Oceanographic Society, you'll notice their seagrass nursery will start I would call it an industrialization process. We got some funding through FWC to help enhance that nursery to provide more testing beds and also a more stable and resilient system to provide nursery stock for anticipated nursery plantings. And then the last one that I'll highlight kind of spins off of that. We've gotten another grant from DEP to do 20 more acres of seagrass planting in the estuary, and that will start towards the end of this month. Last year we did about 20 acres, and that in our follow-up monitoring through the dry season has done much better than we expected, even in spite of lake discharges. And so we're excited to start with the next 20 acres and just keep putting more grass out there. Happy to take some questions.
Thank you. Moving along, we will have City Utilities and Engineering projects. Peter Cunin, Utilities and Engineering Director, City of Stuart.
Usually there's no public comment.
Good morning, everyone. Great to see everyone here this morning. Let me get to the presentation. Let's see. Okay. Well, as far as the update on the current City of Stuart projects, we have the following projects. First would be the transportation or related projects. We have, that's about ready to start now, some pavement maintenance within the City of Stuart's Zone 2 that will include some micro surfacing and also milling and repaving. We have a few streets that are slated for this work, that being Weir Street, High School Avenue, and Cortez Avenue. The anticipated start of the work is going to be towards the end of this month. The project was just awarded at the previous commission meeting. So I would say that probably in April, you'll see some of the work starting, and it's anticipated to be completed by the end of June, right before it gets really, really hot in the summer. On to our stormwater projects. We have two stormwater projects that are currently in construction, the first being the Southwest Dyer Drive Stormwater Improvement Project. And that is some stormwater improvements on Dyer Drive that there's been some recurring flooding problems. And that includes exfiltration trench, drainage inlets, and it will tie into an existing stormwater system located on Palm City Road. The project is pretty much underway and looking at anticipated completion by the end of April of this year. The second stormwater improvement project is on Southeast Lanita Drive, and that's also primarily focusing on Lanita Street and Casa Avenue. And drainage improvements, stormwater inlets, exfiltration trenching, a trench as well, and connecting to an existing drainage structure located on Tressler Drive that discharges to Poppleton Creek. The project is slated for construction towards the end of June of this year. On our utility side, we have two utility projects, lift station projects that are in design. The designs have been completed, actually. And the first one is the North Stuart lift station project. That project involves basically a rehabilitation of the existing North Stuart pumping station with a recoating of the wet well, changing out some piping, discharge piping, putting in some electrical control, a new electrical control panel, the installation of an auxiliary pump in the event that the actual electrical pumps go down. We'll have a source of pumping the wastewater with a power outage or some kind of electrical problem there at the station. The second project is located the Conquistador Lift Station project, something similar with respect to its rehab of an existing wastewater pump station, and includes rehabilitation of the existing wet well, changing out some piping, electrical control panel upgrades. Both projects, as I mentioned, are, the designs have been completed, and we're looking at putting the projects out for bids, most likely in the end of April. So with that, construction, I would say, would be starting over the summer months, and the time frame for completion of construction is 1 year. We have also underway the construction of our rehabilitation of our existing headworks structure at our water reclamation facility. The headworks is in need of some repairs. Some channels inside the headworks need to be relined. There's also odor control equipment that is going to be upgraded. And at the top of the headwork structure, a new roof is going to be installed as part of the project. The project is in construction, and we're anticipating that construction to take place through the end of July or into August of this year. We also have within the Veterans Park, Memorial Park project, the amphitheater project construction of a new amphitheater, and which will include covered stage area, green room, lawn seating, architectural entryway, and some paver work for the aesthetics of that location in the park. The project just started construction at the beginning of this month, and it has a 365 calendar day timeframe. So we're looking at the project being completed by the end of March of 2026. And with that, I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Ms. Hurd?
Yeah, this project looks terrific. The amphitheater does. What material are the wings constructed of?
Well, it's a canopy type of structure. So it'll be a fabric material.
And I see that the stage is completely shaded. How much of the lawn seating is shaded?
That's a good question. Let me see if I could figure that out.
I can chime in. We've maintained all of the large oak trees that are still in the park are going to stay. So there's a significant amount of shade that comes from the courthouse, and then also 2 very large oak trees that are kind of in the center of the grass area. So I would say about half of the lawn will end up being in the shade.
This looks terrific. I'm anxious to see it evolve. Thanks.
Oh, thank you. Any more questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Village of Indiantown Capital Improvement Projects Update. Patrick Nolan, Utilities and Public Works Director, Village of Indiantown.
Good morning. Okay, up first, we have a Public Works Projects update. For anybody that's been to these meetings previously, you're going to see some of the things are the same, but I'm happy to report that we're actually starting construction on some of these projects. So the first one is the Uptown Roadway and Drainage Repair. That project is in the design phase. That was funded, and you will also hear, I'll get this, you've heard a recurring theme with the other municipalities. Most of our projects are grant funded. We spend a good part of our time finding funding for these projects. So when we start these projects, it is dependent on funding. So the Uptown Roadway and Drainage Repair, we do have the funding in place for the design. We do not have funding for the construction. On Southwest Lincoln Street Roadway and Drainage Project, we do have funding, and we are working through the process to start that project, hopefully in the near future. Seminole Drive project, also a road repair and drainage project. We did put that out to bid, but we had some hiccups with the grant process, so we are hoping to start that process or that construction sooner than later as well. A roadway repair and maintenance, that was a general repair of a lot of the streets throughout the village. There was no project for the first 3 years that the municipality was a municipality. So this was our first go at trying to repair the roads. And this will be the beginning of an annual project to assess our roads and make the necessary repairs. On the water side, water project, we again have been seeking funding from the state revolving fund to rehab the existing water treatment plant. We recently got notification that we will have that funding, so we'll be going out to bid on that project very soon and starting construction. The other part of this is building a new RO treatment plant. We are seeking funding. We're looking for about $60 million. So as Taryn says, if you have 60 in your pocket, please give it to us before we leave. Next project is Railroad Avenue Water Main. This is a 100-year water main that runs through the middle of the village. We're seeking funding for that project because it is a very important part of our infrastructure. So if you have an extra $10 million, we'll take that too. Next one is a 12-inch water main looping project. That is a project that we did with Martin County Fire. We actually have started construction on that project. We hope to have that done in the next 5 or 6 months. And last on the water project is 151st and Osceola Street. We are working with Congressman Mast's office to secure funding for that. We have not seen the funding, so again, once we see the funding, we'll start that project. And last but not least is our special water project. As I've been talking about the water and wastewater, with that new RO plant that we plan to build, we're going to need some place to dispose of the concentrate. That is a deep injection well. We chose to co-locate that deep eject swell to water at the wastewater plant. So construction on that literally started this week. So that is a big project for the village as well, because we'll be able to take care of the concentrate from our water treatment plant as well as any upsets from our wastewater plant. That is it for the presentation, if anybody has any questions.
Hetherington?
Mr. Nolan, did I understand the water projects, the one on the first page, they're all designed and ready, just waiting for funding?
The one water project, actually both are, yes. We haven't designed the RO plant, but we are on the early stages. We received a planning grant, so we have started design on the RO plant. The other project is designed and it's ready to go out to bid.
Ready, so as soon as you get the funding, you can start construction.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Does that mean you brought some money with you?
Well, I didn't bring any pockets today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have County City Village Development updates. We'll start with Samantha Lovelady, Principal Planner, Martin County Board of County Commissioners.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Samantha Lovelady with Martin County Growth Management. And I want to start off with your population statistics. And the 2024 projections have not been released yet, but we do have an estimate for 2024, and that's 164,853. And these projections will be updated as soon as Bieber updates those. The county has approved 1,011 single residential projects. I'll give you a moment to look at those. And 1.7 million square feet of non-residential. And if you want me to slow down and look at any of these or want to ask questions about any of them, please do so. And we have, here's a list of all the projects that we have under review for residential. And this includes phases within a master plan that may have been reported earlier. And here's your non-residential projects that are under review. Again, let me know if you have any questions. And for the calendar year of 2024, we issued 712 permits for residential. And with that, I'll take any questions, and that completes my presentation. Yes, sir.
Collins?
So just to confirm, if you'll scroll back up to Newfield, was that 1.1 million square feet of commercial in Newfield? There you go. Is that correct?
What month are you on?
November, Newfield SD.
That's the master plan,
So that's 1.1 million square feet of commercial space?
non-residential, yes.
Thank you.
Anyone? All right.
Thank you. Jody Kugler, Development Director, City of Stuart.
Good morning. My name is Jody Kugler. Nice to see everybody. The City of Stuart does not have any projects right now on the horizon as of for the last quarter. We did complete our zoning in progress and made the necessary land development code changes, and we are now working through the comp plan changes. Any questions?
Thank you, Jody.
Thank you.
Dina Freeman, Community Development Director, and Lucia Mendoza, Planning Assistant, Village of Indiantown.
Good morning, everybody. Dina Freeman with Community Economic Development Department in the Village of Indiantown. Lucia Mendoza. Lucy is back at the office working really hard on addressing, so she's not here today, but she's always working really hard with the department. So we have a presentation. This feels like an echo. So what we're starting off with is just to, because this is televised and there's people in the audience and fellow government people, we've got an update on the GIS, and we are working hard on the GIS system. And alongside, we're also working with a seller to provide an online permitting system which will help with transparency, access to information, and also just project management. So what we wanted to start off with is just to let you know that we have a new layer. It's very exciting for Indiantown when we have new layers on our maps that show the existing, the in review and approved developments. We're looking with our GIS consultant, is looking to update that every month so that anybody that wants to look on the website can look and click on and show basically what projects are in for review and what's been approved. And this is just a zoomed-in version of that map, just showing you the highlighted one is a River Oak plat application that's just been approved for 131 units. So this is the list of non-residential projects. It's been updated since the last quarterly meeting. A lot of the ones that are on the list, De Marcellus, a lot of these are under being approved as site planning are in the building permit stage. So we've got the De Marcellus, which is 19,500 square feet of manufacturing building. We've got the Dollar Tree, which has been approved and is under construction, and you can see that in Indiantown as we speak, with their building permits having been pulled. Storaway is an addition of 10,421 of building to an existing storage facility. That's approved, and they're in the building permit preparation and submittal stage. Performance Boats, which is in Venture Park, which we'll show you on the map in a moment, that's been approved, and they're in the building permit stage. TA Estates is an office and warehouse facility, 22,600. They have been approved with their building permits there, and a lot of these, the reason we're listing is because they're going to be paying their impact fees as part of that building permit and any other connection fees. And obviously, Martin County is going to see some of that money coming their way from the development point of view. Grindhard is working towards their CO. They're still under construction and already in discussions about phase 2, which be an enormous facility in Indiantown. We're working with their operations manager. He came in last week talking about an initial 30 jobs up to 100 when they create second shifts, and really looking to invest in Indiantown and finding community, employment from within, if possible. So it's quite exciting. RCC construction, Venture Park again is an approved manufacturing building of 25,000 square feet that's in the building permit stage. Green Carbon is already approved. They're actually meeting with us and have been meeting with us for phase 2. And when they're up and running, that will be a really cool project for Indiantown and a good synergy with some of the other industry within the area, particularly Green Carbon and all the Venture Park industrial site that's becoming almost full. East Coast Metal Structures, they've been actually, since this slide was produced, they've actually had their CO and are open for business, as is another one, which is Kendall Industrial, that's not on the list, but they're ornate concrete manufacturing, and they've also had their CO, and that's another development within the Venture Park. We've got the Cedron Technologies is in for their second round of reviews. We're looking to draft a development order. Yellow Pine Trust Company is utilizing some of the former juice plant, and they've done a lot split and are creating a trust company manufacturing facility. They're close to, I'm drafting the development order this afternoon, so they're close to approval, having gone through the development review process. P3 Technologies is also in Venture Park, and that's a company that's coming in. I always like to read what they are. Testing center specializing in propulsion pumps and power. Anything that you see going up to space, they've got some sort of hand in that, and they're relocating some of their operation from Jupiter. So that's a really good kind of rounding off in the Venture Park development. And this is just the Venture Park indicated in blue in terms of location in relation to the rest of the village. And this is the companies that we've just been talking about, with P3 Technologies being one of the few that's left to get their actual development order, and everybody else, they're depending on well and septic right now and a pump house, just in terms of utilities, but they're also designed to hook up at the time when that's available. And basically, that's all of the list from the Venture Park PUD or Plan Unit Development. And this is just a picture to show you what Green Carbon Solutions is like. And we did have a tour of that in the last few months, and it's fully built, and it's hitting the go button at any time now on the first phase. And this is P3 Technologies that I just talked about, and the location in relation to the venture park. And this is the site plan that's been under review. They had received their comments resubmitted, and we just completed reviews of their second round of reviews. We're ready for development order with conditions. And they'll start putting in their building permits as of now. And this is Yellow Pine Trust Company in relation to the overall juice plant. We call this like our pop-up industry. It's a really good, effective reuse of the juice plant with a lot of multitude of employment operations and industrial. It's heavy industrial, so there's a lot of different things going on there with the owner, very open to creative thinking on how to use that old site. So we're encouraging that. And this is the Cedron facility that we're in review. It's using part of the wastewater transfer facility. And this is the residential listed development of importance. What's changed since the last meeting. Terra-Lago has revised their PUD to reduce the size of the minimum size of housing to incorporate a model that will be under the 300,000, 299,000, I believe. So that's really exciting for Indiantown because it provides a lot more opportunity for housing that may be attainable. Phase 1A and 1B has received plat approval, so that's 808 units that we are seeing building permits for, and they're going to be going vertical as soon as the plat's in the stage of being recorded. Once that's done, we'll be able to release building permits and get them started to go vertical on some of these models and also some of the houses that are looking to sell. So Indiantown, when you drive over there, it's going to start to look very different in terms of the housing that's coming in the area. And just historically, this is Indiantown DRI that was then Terra-Lago at some point. So this has historically been a project that's been in the making for many years. So it's just coming to fruition at this point. And we've got River Oak. The major site plan was approved for 131 lots since the last presentation. They've also received the River Oak. The plat has been recorded. Our village clerk has it in her hands right now from having been recorded. So that means that they can also start to go vertical, and we can issue building permits for construction. Seminole Crossing has got approval for 24 single-family homes, and there is a Seminole Crossings plat that's under review right now. And we just received our comments, and they'll be resubmitting. Osceola Pines PUD, we're working with them on some revisions. This is one that came in from the county. It was approved as a master plan. They've since come in with a final. Now it's in the village. And there was some additions and a few different changes that triggered a revision to the master plan. So they're doing that alongside with their final, and they're close to being scheduled for PZAB and then Village Council. Osceola Pines plat, that is in with review at the moment, and that will be scheduled for PZAB, Planning Zone and Appeals Board, and Village Council in the next couple of months. Heritage Park was a pre-app. This is the former FEMA site within Indiantown. They're looking to introduce 60 units of housing on that site, and that's come in actually since this slide was produced yesterday. We got completeness review submittal, so we'll be getting that done, and they'll be under review for a site plan application for a major site plan because it's over 50 units. And then JPI Indiantown, this was a pre-application that came in for 39 units. That's the first one of the pre-apps that we've had to indicate that we're at capacity in Indiantown in terms of water. So, anybody that comes in, they have to have individual independent wells to provide water, and then they'll have to deal with their fire suppression. So what we're doing, the message right now is we obviously need 60 million in water in order to do any more, approve any more development. So people are still coming in and interested, but we're being very clear around we have to handle capacity. But anything that's on the books that you're seeing on these slides is actually being approved and reserve capacity under what was available, and we've literally had to draw a line based on the recent review by our village engineer of where we're at with the water. So I just want to make that clear. And this is Terra-Lago, just to remind everybody, this was the Indiantown DRI. This is the overall site. and it's in multiple phases. And Phase 1A and 1B is what's been approved for final site plan and had reserved capacity for. So they are able to build and go vertical on that when the plat's been recorded. And we've got River Oak, and again, this had reserved capacity, and this is for the 131 homes. And this is just a map that shows you the Osceola Pines PUD, the JPI pre-app. We also had a pre-app for Indian Wood Landing. These are people that are buying up property that are associated with the industrial development, Kendall Industrial in particular, and they're looking to provide housing to actually accommodate their workforce, whoever they're bringing in, or whoever's already here. So there's a real demand for housing in Indiantown. But obviously, what we're doing is we're looking for that water capacity in order to accommodate. And this is just the Osceola Pines that's in right now for review. And this is the JPI, just a pre-application that we were provided with. And this is the Heritage Park, which was the former FEMA site. And then we've got a comprehensive plan amendment that's in right now with Beskar Investments. That's been in for completeness, and we're pending resubmittal on that. And I have a slide to show you. The yellow indicates the request for the annexation. It's to provide additional industrial land. I believe it will be light industrial, and it's in relation to the west is the Venture Park PUD, just to give you context. Across the street is the juice plant and a lot of heavy and light industrial development. And that's the end of my presentation. If there's any questions, Commissioner Clark.
Oh, thank you. Ms. Pritchett, I have a question for each of the three presenters, but I'll just start with Indiantown. The red, or I don't know what, that's your city limits?
Yes, that's our village boundary.
Yeah, and the only thing south of the canal is the, I guess, the marina?
Yes.
That's the only thing south of the canal?
Not north. Like you're looking at the marina and then the blue, or you look at, this here is, no, that's village mixed use vacant land.
Okay, and that's the only thing that's south of the... Yes.
I understand now, yeah, that's it, yeah. The extent of the boundary is in red.
Okay, so that's Kenner Highway. Okay, that's on
The
the
map that I
other
have is more helpful. This is the map of Indiantown. It shows in red, but that blocks what you're looking at, to be fair.
Okay.
Okay.
And the Okeechobee Waterway, I was thinking that the Kenner Highway was the Okeechobee Waterway, but I'm mistaken then.
Okay.
Okay, right along the Okeechobee Waterway is Kenner Highway, just on the other side. So, yeah. So that's the only thing that's there, okay.
You have Citrus on one side and Canner on the other.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I didn't realize. I thought that maybe you did, but I do know that piece of property. Okay, and then the other thing, in your acronyms, you have single family. What's the TH again? I saw it on the county.
Townhomes.
Townhome.
Sorry, yeah, I should probably spell that out. Yeah.
Okay, all right, no problem. Can I ask the county a question, please?
Yes, ma'am.
On Canner Highway, where the Gateway Distribution Center is, I wanted to know if you could just throw out what the actual square footage of that is, and what's the current occupancy level, and when do we expect all of it to get, used up? And actually, what are they using it for? Anybody there?
Paul, yeah, I can move, I think.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Paul Schilling, Growth Management Director. Commissioner Clark, I believe you're speaking of the KL Waterside development, Gateway. So I'm just using rough numbers here, but that has approvals for approximately just under 2 million square feet, I believe, of industrial, light industrial for the most part. And we have 2 buildings that are approved, actually 3, one of which is a $500,000, and so it is well underway. There are a couple parcels that are under review to be incorporated into that area as well. So, and the bulk of it, is all industrial, yes.
Yeah, I thought I saw more than 2 buildings, but I don't know. They're all under construction then?
Correct. There's the frontage building, there is a freestanding cold storage building, and there is at least 2 other buildings that share loading bays.
I haven't been all the way back there, but how far is that from the river? Where does it stop there? Does their property go up to the canal?
No, it does not. That is a separate owner that has agricultural land use.
Agricultural is beside that industrial.
Correct, to the what would be the north.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure thing.
City of Stuart?
Excuse me, I have a question for
Oh, thank you.
Indiantown.
All right, thank you. This, you just mentioned that the zoning in progress has been approved. And just because there are people listening, what's the potential time frame for the comp plan amendments to be completed and for people to know that they can now come in and start asking for plans to be reviewed, or we're
Thank you, Commissioner Clark. We just did the zoning in progress, ended on the 5th of this month, and the comprehensive plan are under review right now. Probably about 3 months, we will be rolling out the amendments.
okay. Thank you.
Ms. Vargas?
Yes, my question is regarding the processing facility. Are you requesting other bids, or is this final? This is for Indiantown.
Indiantown.
You mean the biosolid
Yes.
processing?
Yes, I am referring to that.
We don't, yeah, we have not put a bid out with them. The village was working with them to provide them with an area for them to lease from the village, and all their permits and everything are coming through the federal or state, whatever they're required to do.
So, yeah, this is a private developer that's utilizing part of the village of Indiantown, so they're treated like any other applicant. So they're going through the site plan review process, and just yesterday we met with them about the building permits and starting to submit those. So, yeah, there's no bidding process because it's not government-related per se. I hope that helps.
Oh, okay, so are there other entities that are also aware that there's a possibility that they may also approach you for a processing facility?
As I think where you're going, Commissioner, is the county is in the process of putting together an RFP for the hauling of material, as I understand it, and Don probably can articulate much better than I can as an engineer. Go ahead, Don.
So the Cedron biosolids processing facility has letters of interest from a number of government entities, including Martin County, I think the City of West Palm Beach, and others, in terms of contracting with them. I think the City of West Palm is the only one that currently has a direct contract for future processing. The county is exploring also a bidding process that would allow us to look at biosolids processing, whether it's Cedron or any other company that can process biosolids in a way that does not allow any of the processed material to be reintroduced to the land. The whole purpose of it is to have a cost-effective means to process biosolids to hopefully create beneficial uses, but most importantly, that no nutrients get put back on the land. And so that, we are looking to bid that out. We anticipate that Cedron would be one of the bidders, perhaps others. We will put it out on Demand Star, so it's open to all. That we will be, the City of West Palm went through a different process. Ours is going through a more traditional competitive bid process, and I think we also were asked to consider including within our proposal quantities sufficient to allow others to piggyback. That's a nuance that government people would understand what that means, but nonetheless, it would be open to potentially others to use this contract. But the most important thing is that ultimately, in order for anybody to contract with Cedron, they need to have their facility under construction, and I think that's what's most important is the village, once they issue that permit and they start building, we will now know that it is more than a promise.
Okay, so on Demand Star, other entities will be notified that they do have the potential, the possibility of also building a facility?
Yeah, so there's really I think the two things is that most importantly is that we are bidding it out so that not only Cedron could bid on it, but on the other hand, we're also looking to potentially do it in a way that others could utilize this. There have been a number of presentations by Cedron and others around the state regarding new methods of processing biosolids. And of course, we're all looking for a method that meets our environmental goals, but is potentially cheaper than we're paying today. So that's the goal. And so I think the two-part question is that, as I understood, Martin County has its own procurement process for ourselves that what others might be able to use, but more importantly, Cedron themselves has been advertising their capabilities throughout South Florida and has been lining up potential customers. We would anticipate, if they're very successful, that they will run out of capacity within a short period of time. And so we're hoping to be one of those on the list if they're selected, or another company that can do the same thing.
Thank you.
Any other questions for any of these folks? Commissioner Collins?
Mrs. Freeman, as a planner in Indiantown, when I'm surveying from my perspective the presentation, it seems like a lot of these water supply projects, you know, in reference to what you said, development would be at the mercy of supply of water. It seems like a lot of the supply is in the planning phase, looking for grant phase, yet a lot of the development, and it seems like there's a lot, is further along. What are you guys doing? What sort of tools are you using to make sure that you don't end up with far more development than you can supply water to within the planning?
So any of the development applications that are under review, anybody that, before they get site plan, as part of the site plan review process, they have to reserve capacity. So anything that you see on the books, that's what I was trying to explain, has already got, the capacity has been calculated with what's on the books right now. We have a village engineer that's a contract consultant with Kimley Horn, who runs the numbers and is very qualified in what he does, and he has provided confirmation that there are no more, there's no more capacity as of right now for anything coming in, including the pre-apps that were mentioned for reserving capacity. So anything that you see that's there already reserve capacity. Some of them have had development approvals on the books for many years and kept them alive through the extensions and timetables, but any site planning, just like in Martin County, requires reservation of capacity, unless it's just a master plan where you can defer. So with the Terra Lago, Phase 1A and 1B have final site plan approved for 808 units. They reserve capacity for that, and that has been paid for with their, with their ERCs, and it's all on the books. Any of the other phases, excuse me, I'll finish first, thank you. So any of the other projects, sorry, excuse me, I'll finish first and then, so what I was trying to explain, guys, I can't talk over.
I just wanted to ask you, to that point you just made, there was a lot, that the reservation is for future capacity that they're reserving and
No, existing capacity.
Correct,
Okay, it's just, I was just in mid-sentence, but what I was trying to explain is that you have to get site plan approval, and any permit that's issued, any site plan has to have reservation of capacity, and they pay for their hookup as part of the building permit process.
So none of the approvals that have happened as of yet are based on future capacity, it's all on existing, just for...
Existing capacity, the calculations have been done by the village engineer.
Just curious.
He's a part of the development review colleagues. So any application that comes in gets reviewed, just like they do in growth management development review in your public works department. And ultimately, their engineer in the private sector side has to submit, and our engineer has to review and determine that there is capacity.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
To your point, we have been working with our attorney, the village attorney, to see if at site plan approval, they can't get in a queue, if you will, as far as, because that will help us as we build this new plant to know exactly who's out there and what possibly could be on the books. So we are looking at a mechanism, it would be like the ability to come and get your site plan, pay your fees, and then at the time when you're issuing your building permits, you shore up, if you will, if our fees have gone up, so that they're not coming in and reserving at a lower rate if we increase our fees down the road. So that's what we're hoping to accomplish, but we haven't gotten there yet.
Thank you.
Commissioner Reed?
Yeah, I see Village of Indiantown has their GIS map up. Is there a possibility, I don't know if all municipalities had the same GIS and we just filtered it by municipality, and then we can filter out zoning districts? It just helps so we're one county at the end of the day instead of working off a 3 or 4 GIS. The city of Stuart has one, Martin County has one, the Village of Indiantown has one.
Well, I can comment on that and say that we've all been using the same GIS system, and I know that the property appraiser's GIS includes all of the county, which would include all the municipalities in it. It doesn't include the local zoning maps because each regulatory authority has its own zoning maps, so it would be impossible for Martin County to manage the city zoning maps because of the changes we make. So the city's zoning falls in the city GIS map, and the county zoning falls in the county. But if you wanted to see all of the properties, if you click on any individual property at the property appraiser's GIS system, it actually says city zoning, single-family residential, or county zoning commercial, or whatever the actual zoning is on the property if you click on the link at the property appraiser's site.
So the simple answer is no.
Well, the
Basically.
simple answer is that we're different agencies.
Yeah, correct. I understand that. Just, it would make it easier instead of having the 3 for the zoning, that's all. But thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Heatherington?
Unrelated to some of those presentations, but for the benefit of, while we have all the Village of Indiantown here, Mayor DiPaolo, and I was unable to attend the last MPO meeting, but Mayor DiPaolo, based on one of our priorities is signalizing the intersection of Alapata 609 and 710, and I know that's a high priority, as is 710 is our #1 priority for the MPO, widening 710. And Mayor DiPaolo suggested that a good solution, and I agree with him that a good solution, at least a long-term solution, would be to realign 609 Alapata with Martin Luther King at the intersection of 710. And while I think that suggestion is good, I just want to bring that up while we were all in the same room. I think that's a long-term solution as 710 is widened. And I will advocate, at least on the MPO, that we get that intersection signalized as soon as possible, because there have been major accidents, fatalities. It seems like there's a fatality every other weekend now on 710, but I think we need to try to get, and that will require some Martin County cooperation, as 609 is a county road, but to signalize, we need to really prioritize DOT signalizing as soon as they possibly can that intersection for the safety of our residents. And then I like the long-term idea of realigning it with Martin Luther King. Thank you.
If I may, included in my report with the county, there's a link in my report that goes straight to the developments within all the jurisdictions. The link is in my report, and it shows you projects as they are updated. This, I believe, is being updated every 6 months, but it does include the municipalities and the county projects, if you wanted to look there.
Yeah, I'm familiar with this GIS map. It's very resourceful as well, but I was specifically looking for something a little different. But thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Ms. Clark?
Yes, I'm asking my question, especially before the school board comes up. The school board and the county and the city have done a very good job of expanding the safety at 10th Street where J.D. Parker School is. I remember when there was just one crossing guard. Now it's a whole major complicated system, but the kids are safe. Another thing that I'm very concerned about within the city of Stuart, and I'm asking now at this meeting to hopefully get some traction on this, is the intersection of Palm Beach Road, which is a county-governed road, and Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, where students go to Stuart Middle School and other places, and it's right there in front of the Audubon. And we're just asking for a little sign that says, you know, people are crossing, or maybe a pavement across Palm Beach Road that shows that it's a crossing area, so a highlighted, what do we call those, Mike? We did it for Gertrude, a highlighted, high accessible crosswalk situation. And if we could just work with the county on that at Martin Luther King and Palm Beach Road, lots of kids crossing there for Stuart Middle School, lots of activities there with people walking and biking. We just want to highlight, just to put pavers along the road of Palm Beach Road, just to highlight that there's that intersection there where there's a lot of crossing activity.
Thank you. So finally, we have the school district update, Superintendent Michael Main and staff.
Good morning, everyone. Tracy Miller, Deputy Superintendent, and on behalf of Superintendent Michael Main, we are pleased to be here, as always, to share the happenings of the Martin County School District with you. And we'll kick it off with Mr. Mark Sechrist with an update on Martin County High School's pool.
Good morning, everyone. Mark Sechrist, Director of Facilities at the Martin County School District. I'm going to provide you an update on the Martin County High School pool project. So there were 2 phases to this pool project. Prior to November 19th, that's posted as the first date, we did a full assessment on the pool. So it was a professional assessment done with an architect, an electrical engineer, and actually a pool consultant. That report was presented to the board on November 19th. When the report was, when the presentation was finished, they had options which involved course of action items. So each option had course of option items listed under it, and it was at the board's discretion to decide what work they wanted to be done. So on November 19th, we were given direction on option number 1, which involved course of action number 1 and course of action 6A. So what that means to you as the public is there were electrical items under course of action 6A and non-electrical items under course of action number 1. So as we move forward through the project, that's what the project option is related to. So on December 9th, we contacted the contractors, the electrical contractors, to do the electrical side of this work. So there's 2 different proposals going out for this project. Then on January 24th, we actually got the submitted proposal for the electrical work. Keep in mind, there were 3 holidays between the November 19th date and the dates as we move forward. So we had Thanksgiving break, Christmas break, and New Year's Eve. And it's very difficult to start a project during that time frame. So that's why there's some gaps in dates. On January 27th, the fee proposals were reviewed by staff. On January 31st, we actually submitted the PO for the electrical work. On February 3rd, we actually started the proposal request for the items that are non-electrical, which is course of action items number 1. On February 7th, the purchase order was released for the electrical work to the contractor, which means at that point, you can actually schedule the work and then move forward with dates. On February 12th, the proposal request was completed for course of action number 1. And then on February 18th, the actual electrical contractor started the work for the electrical items. So now on March 21st, which is coming up, we will get the second proposal for the non-electrical items, and then once we get that in for a proposal, we will start that work and get that work scheduled. So that's essentially the whole pool project as a whole. We are moving forward right now with the electrical items. They're being ordered and installed as they come in, so that work is progressing. So as backup, I won't go through all these line items, but it is for your information. It lists what items were listed in course action number 1. And then the next slide lists course of action 6A, and that was all located under option 1, which the board previously selected in November 19th board meeting. I can take any questions before I hand it back to Dr. Miller.
Thank you.
So before I leave, again, we have this slide every quarter, but this is our top 24 capital projects that are currently going on. So if you have any questions on them, you can let Mr. Main know, but that board keeps rotating every 12 months. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I'd like to share with you some information about student enrollment. This is always a big topic, and everyone's interested in knowing how many students we have enrolled in our schools. So this is actually a chart that shares the overtime information. We call enrollment FTE. That's the full-time equivalent. That is actually also related to how we receive funding from the Florida Department of Education through the Florida Education Finance Program. So FTE is very important to us. It helps us pay our bills, it helps us pay our teachers, and keeps our amazing programs and schools running. So you can see these, we do take counts for enrollment twice a year. That is the February and the October points that you see over the last several years, and you certainly can see the trend that's happening over time. Again, I want to point out these are district-operated schools, pre-K to 12. These do not include charters. These do not include students who participate in the Family Empowerment Scholarship or any of those other programs. So these are the students who you would see in our district-operated schools, pre-K through 12, over time. And so you can see we are very anxious to increase our enrollment because we want the students in our area to be able to benefit from the amazing programs and education that we provide, and we need for efficiency to fill our buildings so that we can continue to operate in the most effective way. So in order to do that, we have opened an enrollment process that began on March 1st. And we are calling that our window for fall enrollment application. So any family, any parent of a student who lives anywhere in the state of Florida can actually apply to go to our Martin County schools. Now, the first thing people ask is, well, who pays for that? Are Martin County taxpayers paying for a student who comes from somewhere else? And the simple answer is no, that the money follows the child. So the FTE program that I mentioned, the Florida Education Finance Program, that funding for students, no matter where they live, comes to us in Martin County when they participate and are enrolled in Martin County schools. So there are 4 ways to attend our schools. Number 1, you can live right here in Martin County and live within the attendance zone of the school that you are attending. Second, you can be a child of a Martin County employee. We value our employees greatly, and one of the benefits is that you can enroll your child in any school of your choosing in the district by being an employee. And then third and fourth are really related. The enrollment process I mentioned, the fall enrollment application that's available at martinschools.org, is available for any parent of a resident or non-resident, and through that application process, if you are a resident and you would like your child to attend a school other than the one that is assigned to you based upon where you live, you can apply as a resident. Or if you are a non-resident but in the state of Florida, you can apply as well. So that application is open right now, and the most up-to-date information we have, and I mentioned we're trying to increase the numbers of students in our schools. Since this opened on March 1st, we have 174 applications that would represent new to the district students. 76 of them are from out of Martin County, and the remainder are students who reside in Martin County but are doing something else for education right now. They might be homeschoolers, they might be attending charter, they might be participating in some other form of education, and they're interested in coming to our public schools. So these are our projected enrollment numbers for the next school year. School opens on August 11th, 2025. And these are the numbers that if we were opening today, this is what you would see in our schools. FISH stands for the Florida Inventory of Schoolhouses. It's the number assigned by the Department of Education. That is the school capacity for each individual building. And in elementary schools, we also house preschool programs. So we are able to accommodate our preschool students and our kindergarten through 5th grade students. You can see that Bessie Creek is exceeding capacity at this point, so there is a wait list for anyone who would like to choice or be a part of the application process for Bessie Creek at the elementary school. We do have limited enrollment space also at Warfield Elementary. You see it's nearing capacity, and also Jensen Beach Elementary School. For secondary schools, middle and high, you can see that our middle schools are wide open. We're very excited to welcome new students into our middle schools. So if there are families out there who are looking for an amazing alternative for their middle school age student, any of our 5 public-run elementary schools can be applied to, and we would accept students into those schools at this time for next school year. Actually, you can also apply to go this school year. If you'd like to continue the remaining of the school year, we could accommodate that as well. And then in high school, you can see Jensen Beach High School is over capacity, so those families interested would be put on a wait list. And capacity is limited but available at Martin County and South Fork High Schools.
Dr. Miller, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Is there a standard of percentage, like for the high school particularly, if you get to all the schools are at 95% or higher, it forces the building of another facility? Or is there a measurement like that, or?
So there is, we would first go to portables. We have plenty of space at Martin County High School. If you've been on that campus anytime recently, you know that there are a lot of portables right by the pool. So we have lots of space in that way. We would utilize that first. Also, many of those portables are owned by the district, so we would move them to other locations. And Mark's presentation included future projects for expansion and additional space at our schools.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I mentioned that we have space available and an enrollment process, and families can choose among many opportunities that we have. Obviously, because we have so many programs and so many options available for those in Martin County, those who attend our schools, we can't offer every program at every school. So that's why choice is very important to us, so that families can choose where they would like to send their child based upon the needs and specific interests of their child. So I'd like to introduce Ms. Lana Barros, who will give some information, but I'll stop for some questions first before we move on to pathways.
Commissioner Collins, did you have a question?
I did. So, and again, I said this last time, I'm outside sort of looking in, right? But would you say, just in looking at that the trend is, parents are pulling kids from middle school to homeschool, or where do you think that those numbers are dipping with enrollment?
So it's a really good question, and the trend has been that we are lower in middle schools, and students are enrolling. You can see our capacity is very high. We are very full in the high schools and less full in the middle schools. We do have a great amount of capacity with only 3 grade levels, 6, 7, and 8 in middle school. So you can see our seats available are 5,600 for middle for just 3 grades, and 5,400 for 3 grades in middle and 4 in high school. So you can see we just have larger middle schools and therefore more capacity available in the middle schools.
Do you anticipate, from a market standpoint, that this is going to be a continuing trend, or it's just a moment in time that's sort of a lag from COVID?
So it could be any of the above. We are definitely working with our curriculum and instruction team, and they have some additional programming opportunities and things as what I'll call attractor programs, and you'll hear a little bit about that from Mrs. Barros, to really let the parents and students know of those middle schoolers, what is available. And sometimes I think it's just the idea of you've left the one teacher that you've had. In 5th grade, you had one teacher all day long, and then the unknown that happens when you go to middle school and you move classrooms and have multiple teachers. So we're really opening up opportunities for parents to come in and see what that looks like, for students to see how that feels, and really hear from our students to see how they benefit from those opportunities with different teachers, different programs, and different course opportunities.
Assuming that that's a continued trend that happens and it's not just a COVID hangover, has there been any consideration with having your middle schools so vacant, potentially converting a or multiple middle schools if the market seems to not want to have their kids in public school and then put them back in high school?
Absolutely. There's opportunity for K-8 programs. There's opportunity for us to really have significant movement with our attractor programs, and as I mentioned, that's kind of why I shared that information. We have more than half of the students who are new to the district are those coming from somewhere other than out of county. They are here in county coming back to our schools. So we're looking for that to be a positive trend in that direction, and we have opportunities to make some adjustments, as you mentioned, if we need to in the future.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Katz?
Yes, my question is about Indiantown schools in the future. Will there need to be new schools to accommodate the new growth there?
So we have some planned, actually, you will be seeing, Mr. Sechrist has just put together information for major upgrades and new buildings on the site at Warfield Elementary. So we've had many improvements and additional buildings at Indiantown Middle School in the last several years, and Warfield is slated, along with Murray Middle, for some major renovations, including front office, additional classroom space, renovated classrooms. If you're familiar with Warfield, the entire front area where you would walk in through the office and the surrounding classrooms, those would all be replaced to the south and east with new buildings that will be coming very soon. They are next on the list.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes, thank you. Dr. Miller, how much is that money that each student travels with again? Is it $8,500?
It varies. It varies by year and varies by student. Students with exceptionalities who require additional services and programs receive additional funds, and that's through a matrix formula. And then what I'll call the average student, for example, it costs more money to educate a kindergartner than, for example, maybe a third grader. And then when you get into students who are in specialty programs that you'll hear about, such as our CTE programs, those obviously are a little more costly. So that number does vary by student. So there's an unweighted number, and then there's a weighted number based upon the intricacies of the services being provided to a child. And that is set by the Department of Education each year.
Commissioner Capps, did you have another question?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Lana Barros. I'm the Director of Innovation and Choice for the Martin County School District. I have been here before speaking at the joint meeting specifically about our career and technical education programs, and we have a really solid system around those specific programs, our career academies. So we have over 30 career academies in our high schools. They're all registered career academies, so that means that we follow Perkins Law and that all of those academies meet size, scope, and quality. They have articulation agreements at post-secondary institutes. They have industry engagement and advisory, and then they have work-based learning. So those pictures you see there are our classrooms, and those are solid. In addition to our 30 career academies, we also have collegiate pathways in all 3 of our high schools. So you're probably very aware of those. We have AP Capstone Diploma, we have an IB Diploma at Southwark, and we have the ACE Cambridge at Martin County High School. So college and career readiness is alive and well in our secondary schools. And so we often think of that graduate and the profile of a graduate, but our push for specialty pathways is falling from pre-K through high school. So we've looked at the end in mind, but we really need to start at the beginning as well. So our specialty pathways, we're pushing down into our middle schools, and with the help of the Education Foundation, we have instituted a career exploration lab. Career exploration lab in all 5 of our middle schools. That allows all students to become aware of the feeder patterns. And as those of you who've been in your seat for quite a long time, you know that our career academies are selected to be talent pipelines for our local communities. So they fulfill the labor market demand that we have. And so we put those into our middle schools to bring awareness. In the last 5 years, we've also added some of these specialty pathways into our middle schools specifically. So all 5 of our middle schools now have a CTE distinctive program along with an accelerated pathway. So when I say an accelerated pathway, they're obviously not taking college courses in middle school, but they're taking high school courses in middle school, or they have a program in their middle school. So at Hidden Oaks Middle, we have the Cambridge program, and then at Murray Middle, we have just became an IB candidate school, middle year school, so that feeds our high school. So that being said, we also brought our specialty pathways down into our elementary schools. So how do we make college career readiness for our elementary students? Well, reading and math proficiency is number one. We want them proficient at that, so that's for all of our schools. But each one of our elementary schools is working towards having a unique identity. So we've gone through this process in the last year to ensure that all of our elementary schools are also having a K through 12 continuum to make that graduate who we want them to be. And so I'm going to actually highlight two of our elementary schools that were selected and were two of our first ones that went through branding. One was Pinewood Elementary School, so now they are known as Pinewood School of Communication. We strategically put communication there because Pinewood, though it feeds to Anderson Middle, and we have communication programs at Anderson Middle, it also feeds to all three high schools. So those students will split to all three high schools, and then we have communication and audiovisual in all three of our high schools. So we want to start them with that awareness so that if they continue into that pathway in their high school and their middle school experience, they also are able to connect to that coursework. Seawind Elementary is also one of our highlighted schools. They are now the Leadership Academy. So they're utilizing Leader in Me, which is Dr. Stephen Covey curriculum, and that is infused throughout their school in addition to core content proficiency. And they feed, their students are zoned for Anderson Middle and Murray Middle. And so those two schools also have leadership programs in addition to ultimately ending up at Martin County High School and Southwark, who also, both of those have JROTC programs, which are our official leadership programs. So we're happy to report that we are doing really well with that. We say in Martin County, we educate all students for success. And if we say we're educating all students for success, this past year, we proved that 73% of our graduates graduated with college career acceleration, which is 7 percentage points higher than our state average, which, yay, that's a really big deal, thank you. But that also means 25% we didn't catch. So that is the goal of this, is to really help our students K through 12 get to that place where they're graduating with a head start on their life. And so this is where we go to our next slide here. Our next slide here really represents our schools K through 12. So when we think of high school graduation in the school district, we often think of it as getting the students ready for the finish line, but we're actually getting them ready for the starting line of their life, and we want to give every single one of them a head start. So when this young lady was at elementary school, seemed like a lifetime away, keep going, that she would end up being reading proficient and math proficient when she left and entered middle school. She attended two of our middle schools, actually the two that I highlighted today, and then she ended up at Anderson Middle School before she headed on to high school. And in high school, through that pathway, she ended up doing the hospitality program and the sports recreation program. She did dual credit. So she graduated with a career certification and a high school diploma and college credit. So this next slide represents her, next column represents her dual enrollment college credit. And that is her proud standing before this stage at her Martin County High School. She graduated college, career, and life ready, or what our strategic plan is calling future ready. She had college credit, she had industry cert, she had experience in a sports team and extracurricular activities, and there she is now working as a 19-year-old for the college program at Disney. So this is what we want for all our kids. all of them. And so that is our promise to our community through our specialty pathways. And we already see an uptick in our interest and the volume of applications to enter our schools to be engaged in this work. And we're doing a much better time and effort telling that story. So the story is really important. So when we talk about those middle school years, those programs are there, but it's really about helping our schools and all of us in our community tell the story of what the outcomes are for our students, not just entering, but the outcomes of a success story in our schools. And so if anyone has any questions, I'm open to questions now.
Good job.
Oh, thank you very much. We have great things happening in our schools. We know that public schools attract families to our community. They boost our property values. They foster a skilled workforce. And of course, they contribute to our community. So we're happy to offer these programs. And I see Ms. Clark has a question.
Thank you. At J.D. Parker, there's a relationship with the airport, the SOAR, is it SOAR program or something? How is that going in terms of starting people off into that industry?
I am so happy for your question. I wasn't planning to go there, but I am proud to report that it is going extraordinarily well. So J.D. Parker Stuart Middle, Jensen Beach High School is our first true K through 12 continuum on a industry, and that is aviation, aerospace. So we have outcomes. We had our very first pilot graduate from Jensen Beach High School as an 18-year-old last year. We're doing a pledge to pilot program at Jensen Beach High School and some Embry-Riddle dual enrollment courses there, but it starts at kindergarten at J.D. Parker. So we've resurrected our simulation lab there, and we have started to investigate the curriculum with the Civil Air Patrol. So that work has also started. And though since COVID, our visits to the airport have decreased, we met just this week with our SAC, and we're developing a plan there to make sure that all those pieces are in place so every grade level at J.D. Parker has an aerospace experience to start that awareness and interest, so they hopefully continue in engineering as future members of our community. So it's very exciting stuff. So thanks for asking, because I wasn't going to share that, but I'm so proud of it.
If there's ever the opportunity, just like how people have old boats and things like that, if there's some type of a airplane, something or other, that maybe could be incorporated into an art piece at the school, but something that will help, put that in the minds of students when they're young. They wake up, they see it, something is at their school, whatever it is. I don't know, I'm just thinking.
Thank you. Yes, we will take any donated planes anytime someone has one to offer. But we'll go through our check with our risk department first.
I'll donate my plane.
I have a question.
Yes, hi, Ms. Perez.
I hear about our schools on the coast. What about Indiantown? I'm excited, but, Indiantown's my home. What are we doing to get those kiddos interested in the career path? Because this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But can we duplicate it in Indiantown?
So I don't know about a new school, so I just heard that question presented, so it sounds like our campuses have space for growth. Indiantown as a community is zoned for South Fork High School, so Warfield Elementary, 100% feeder to Indiantown Middle School. Indiantown Middle School is 100% feeds to South Fork High School. So at Indiantown Middle, we do offer a STEM career exploration lab, so that brings the awareness, and the labs that were chosen there are specific to labor market and South Fork High School. So that's number one. Number two, we've had a little bit of a turnover in our teacher there. So with that being said, we've initiated a program, ag tourism. So ag tourism allows for some feeder patterns at South Fork High School because we have our strong landscape agricultural program there, in addition to public service, marine and auto technicians. So that's why we brought in ag tourism. We know agriculture tourism is one of the biggest industries in Indiantown. And so when we're introducing that variety of a wheel per se, then it's just bringing exposure. In terms of high school, I don't know, maybe one day, all the growth out west, that would be a great opportunity to keep our students engaged. And if that were to happen, we definitely consider and be strategic about what we place at the school.
And I'll follow up with that again. I'm always concerned of the relationship between the school board and the private Indiantown High School, the governance of that, and how we're making sure that there's absolute coordinated planning and assistance. I'm still not sure how that all works because I know they have their own directors, but I just want to make sure that our students are getting from Indiantown Middle School going to the high school, which is under a different, it's not a part of the school board system.
Mrs. Power.
Marcia, thank you.
So I can talk a little bit about Indiantown High School. We absolutely coordinate services and offer support through the school district. In fact, I know we are doing that right now as we speak. But also, I think that you should come out and visit Indiantown High School because they had their first graduating class, a group of 12 students that graduated early. And had you been, if you were to attend, or I think you can go back and watch it on video, there were 12 students that graduated early because they want to go to work. The school, Indiantown High School, chose not to hold their graduation until May so that they could actually get to work. One of the students had an amazing story, and Angelina can probably talk about it a little bit more than give you more details, but everyone in the room was basically in tears. It was a student that was not thriving in a traditional setting. He was accepted at Indiantown High School very cautiously because there had been some behavioral issues. He graduated a semester early, and the teachers got together and gave a scholarship to him because he was in the welding program, which has a wait list at Indiantown High School. And they gave him a scholarship to be able to purchase helmets and gloves and the tools that he would need to go right to work. And that is his plan, and he was being pursued by industry, businesses in Indiantown that actually weld. So those are the success stories, and I invite you to come out. Please contact me or Angelina, and I know that they'd be happy to give you a tour so you can see what's happening and see the coordination with the Martin County School District.
Thank you.
And to just piggyback off of that, it's just really important that we all remember we are in a school choice state, right? And so with that, we do have fluidity. So we see students come and go, and so we still share them. There are residents, and they're part of our school system. And so we do work hard with our 4 charters here locally to ensure that they're following their requirements to meet their eligibility, and also that we're supporting them because in the end, their success is our success. So we do that work too. So thank you for the question.
Commissioner Vargas?
Yes, I think it's exciting, the variety of programs you're offering. As a former high school teacher in a county school system, I'm reading endorsed, and I understand about the reading component, critical for success in life. I also an international baccalaureate teacher, and I understand about the other programs that you're offering. Had you thought about a health science component, those that want to go into the medical field? That is an exploding field, especially in our area.
So we do. So we work closely with Economic Council and Business Development, so we are aware of the 6 hubs of excellence here in Martin County. So healthcare is one of our strongest programs. We have healthcare in all 3 of our high schools. We also have healthcare at Anderson Middle School, and we're starting health sciences and technology at Crystal Lake Elementary School.
Can I just add that the pass rate for students completing that program and the credential that goes along with that is well above the state average, and at some of our schools, it's been 100%. So the health science program is very strong.
That is correct. So that is our perfect pass rate. I feel very terrible if we don't continue that for probably 8 years. We've had 100% pass rate for our CNA test. So we put about 100 CNAs into the workforce every graduating class. In the last 3 years, we've added additional certifications and coursework in our high schools under the medical umbrella. So we have also offered certified medical assisting. So we started that last year, and phlebotomy, and EKG tech.
You seem to have covered quite a bit. So you talked about students, are they able to shadow PAs or doctors? Because this is a very real experience that is indelible then in their mind.
So all of our programs, whether it's medical, welding, HVAC, are required for us to register them as an academy. They're required to have a work-based learning component. So the medical ones are the most stringent just because they're in Florida statute and governed by the Department of Health and Nursing. So our CNAs are required to do 40 clinical hours. We do those 20 we do in a nursing home, and then 20 are done at the hospital. And so we do the same for our certified medical assisting program and administrative assistant program. Those students are pushing into doctors' offices in the hospitals to do that side of the work. And then our exercise science program, those students are on the sidelines of our own athletic programs with our trainers, just doing tier 1 level of support, which would be like wrapping ankles, icing students, and so that's their hands-on experience.
Commissioner Clark? Thank you. So I know that the Boys and Girls Club has been developing their culinary for after-school care home there, and I know that Martin County High School has a big culinary program, and I want to make sure that all the other schools have that also, and are you encouraging that for the charter school at Indiantown, if the people who are involved with the charter school? I don't know if it's big enough to have something like that there, but.
We currently have the culinary program.
Oh, you do?
We just started it in January.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Anyone? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you all for having me. Look me up. I'll give you a tour. We'd love to showcase our schools and share more or get you more information if you're interested. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. My name is Jennifer Corkin. I'm the Director of Pre-K Programs with Martin County School District. I'm here today to share with you some exciting event that we recently had. To increase excitement about attending kindergarten at our schools for the past few years, we've offered a kindergarten blast-off. I've included some pictures there from our most recent event. We are welcoming our students into our campuses. It's a great opportunity for them to get to meet their teachers and see where they're going to be having their lunch and going to the library and things like that. We utilize kindergarten ambassadors to hold this program, which are kindergarten teachers. They work very hard to coordinate with their school and schedule these events. Oh, sorry. Okay, this was our attendance from our most recent event. We had 564 families attend. That was an increase over last year of 56 families. And you can see some of our schools were very highly attended, and it kind of goes along with our enrollment. Okay, and that was just a brief little thing about our kindergarten kickoff. Is there any questions or anything concerning this?
I don't really have a question, but just to encourage families to get your children registered for voluntary pre-kindergarten. We do have spots open. in our public school VPK programs, but the VPK program in the state of Florida would not be successful without private providers as well, and parents are entitled to that free VPK. About 80% of the providers are privately run programs, so please get your certificate and get your children enrolled in a high-quality voluntary pre-kindergarten program, because we do know that if a child completes those, that voluntary pre-kindergarten program, about 75% of them are ready on the day they start kindergarten. So, and we do not see those types of numbers for the kids who do not attend a high-quality VPK program.
Thank you, Mrs. Powers. Yes, we have VPK in all of our 12 elementary schools, and we are currently enrolling.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes, Ms. Powers, maybe you can help me with this. I know that this is the elected officials for city, county, and school board, but I was wondering if maybe sometime on the agenda for the school board especially, if we could get this nonprofit group, which is the Early Learning Coalition, just to tell us a little bit about themselves and what they're doing for families and children at that stage. And I don't know if we could just do that.
Well, again, Ms. Clark, I would be happy to talk to you about the Early Learning Coalition and what we do. I would love for you to visit some of, I know you're very familiar with a lot of our providers. Gertrude Walden, I know you're very familiar with, but I'm happy to share all about the programs that we offer in the birth to 5 space.
Yeah, I'd just like if they would at least, if we could have some information, they could say something to the public at one of these joint meetings, even though they're not one of our bodies. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? With that, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for coming.